Hi, today in our series about rethinking the fitness assessment, we're going to talk about the assessment measurements themselves. So first off, which protocols are you going to use in the fitness assessment? So choosing the protocols that you use for the assessment is really important. You want to choose protocols that are relevant to their own goals, relevant to what you like to measure, relevant to fitness in general, obviously. Protocols that you're comfortable with, that you know how to measure properly, how to explain properly. Don't do protocols that you're not too sure about or can't answer some questions on. We'll talk a little bit more about explaining protocols in a minute. You want to make sure that in the initial assessment at least, there are some history questions. So some questions about their health history, their injury history, all those types of things, they should be in there. They help lay the groundwork for what you'll actually measure as the assessment goes on as well. You want to make sure that you choose protocols that allow a baseline today for something you are going to want to retest in the future, right? And then as well, for when you're doing a reassessment, you want that reassessment to be shorter, and you're just choosing those protocols that are really relevant to their goal. So make sure you follow those kind of guidelines when you're choosing which protocols you use for the assessment. Every trainer is a little bit different. There's tests you like doing, and some tests you might not be as comfortable doing. Just make sure you choose the tests that work for you. So, and then explaining those tests, that's the next step. So you want to make sure with any test or protocol that you do select, one, you can explain it to them on how to do it, how to do the measurement properly, right? How that measurement relates to their overall health and to fitness. It's really important to be able to explain how that measurement actually relates to that. What a healthy target is for that measurement. So what would be a healthy target based off of their sex and their age and those types of things. You should be able to answer that question. Most clients will ask you that as soon as you've done a test on them. What should I be, or what would somebody in my age group or would be? So make sure you have a good answer for that. You need to know how to set a SMART goal around that protocol itself. So you shouldn't be doing any tests that you can't retest in the future, and actually set a SMART goal around that protocol. And as well, you need to be able to answer how you can improve or progress that given measurement. So what things they can do in the gym that are going to actually improve that measurement over time. So it's really important that you can explain those 5 things on any measurement, any test you're going to do within the assessment itself. Now this gets a little bit challenging when you aren't assessing in person for any of those that do online training, and they have to have your client do some self-assessing. It definitely gets a little bit trickier. One, you want to limit the amount of self-tests they do to stuff that's just really relevant. Don't have them go out and do a whole bunch of things just for the sake of it. If you can't see them in person, limit it down to what's really relevant for their goals and for their plan itself. And there's a few hacks you can do. So depending on which measurements you want to do, there's a few ways you can kind of hack it, get them to do it themselves. So starting with body composition, obviously getting them to buy a Tanita scale, especially if they're going to be measuring it over time, or buying a body impedance scale that can measure body fat percentage. Not the most accurate, I know, but at least it's a good baseline if they're measuring it consistently, same time, same, all of those things. If they're not going to go and buy a scale themselves, you can always just tell them to go to, if they're a member of a gym, or go to a gym and ask if they can use a body fat percentage scale. Now we all know that most gyms are going to take that opportunity to try and do a full assessment on them, so maybe they'll get a few more measurements out of it, and out of that than for you than they need. But getting them just to go to a gym, ask for a scale, that's a good one on body composition as well. In terms of actual measurements, if trying to be really clear about where they need to take the measurements from is a good starting point. Have them, if they can, get a retractable tape so there's a little bit less human error in it. At least then you can get some relatively accurate measurements, and as long as they're measuring, again, the same places each time, then you're getting consistent measurement to measure progress. With cardio, this one, depending on which test you want to do, blood pressure is a really good one on this one that they can kind of self-assess. Resting heart rate, obviously, you can teach them how to get their resting heart rate. You can teach them a few basic cardio tests, whether it be a 5-minute bike test, or the step test, or a 1-mile walk run, and then how to get their active heart rate there. But blood pressure is the other one that they can see improvements on right away, either buying a blood pressure cuff. They're not too expensive these days, or you can usually go, if you're Canadian, you can go to Shoppers Drug Mart, there's the blood pressure cuff right there, or go to your doctor, get your blood pressure measured. That's when we can get your client to at least get a baseline of blood pressure and what you can see and monitor over time. With strength, it's a little bit different. With strength, you probably need to either instruct them on how to do the tests themselves and then have them do those tests in the gym. Even better if you could do it either via webcam with them, so you can watch them and correct them as they're doing the test themselves, so you're just doing it from a distance, Or in another scenario, have them have a friend actually video them doing the tests and then have them send you the video so you can see and you can get a better valuation of it. So a few hacks if if your client has to assess on their own or assess from a distance. So assessment measurements, again, make sure you choose the right tests and protocols for it. Make sure you can explain those protocols properly for all the things that are relevant around that protocol. Next up, we're going to talk about how you take what you measure and set some real customized, personalized goals for your clients. If you believe that your job should be about support and not sales, then sign up for Trainer Plus for free, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and check the description for links to our website, blog, and social media. And of course, share this video with all of your trainer friends.